Most watches circulating around were created by a simple necessity. For example, the Cartier Santos was created because Santos Dumont, the pilot, needed some way to see the time while he was piloting his aircraft. The Submariner or most dive watches were created because there was a need to tell time underwater. But this watch has a peculiar story. In 1931, polo players wanted to see the time while they were playing. Now, it seems a bit counterintuitive today to be wearing a watch while playing sports, except if you're Rafael Nadal and you're wearing a Richard Mille. But in those times it made sense. It was 1931, so there were two reasons why you would like to wear your watch while playing polo. The first, of course, you want to see how much time of the match is left. But second, and a lot of people don't know this, you need to change your horse every 7 minutes in polo. So that was one way to check how much time was left. But now, why did polo players wanted to have a special watch? Why couldn't they use a regular watch? If you don't know, polo is a sport played with horses and some big clubs that you swing and hit the ball. Now that club could also hit other stuff, including the watch. So the polo players wanted a watch that could be protected. So Jaeger Le Coultre created the Reverso, which is this watch with a cradle that can make it turn and protect the face and the crystal of the watch. Now, a thing that I really like about this watch is that it is a recognizable watch. As I said, there is a lot of iconic watches like the Zog, like the Daytona, Speedmaster, and a lot of Cartier models that are super iconic and recognizable. Now this is a recognizable, iconic watch, but only for the people who know. Someone that doesn't care and doesn't know about watches will see this watch from afar and be like, yeah, it's probably a tank. And that is probably my favorite part. Jaeger Le Coultre as a brand, and the Reverso included, is a collector's brand. So only the people that know will recognize it. But what makes this watch so special? Of course, more than 99% of watches in the industry are round and are static. But the rotation system with the cradle makes this watch a unique piece that you can interact with. And I really like that. And Jaeger Le Coultre invited me to a course where they showed us how to assemble this cradle, and that made me appreciate much more this watch, because you could understand how genius this watch is. And just remember that this watch was created in 1931, so almost 100 years ago. Now, when this watch was created, and up to even the 90s, watches were tools. They were used to what they were designed for. Like the Santos, what was worn by Santos Dumont. There were watches that went to war to measure time. The Submariner and Rolexes were used to dive. And of course, this watch was worn to play polo. But they have been so refined throughout the years that now they are more of a luxury item. And even more than luxury, they are relics. They are family relics. And what makes this watch much more special is that it is also customizable. And every watch, or almost every watch, is customizable. You can engrave on most watches, but you cannot wear them with the engraving on the front, just as you can with this Reverso. So you just pop a watch, turn it around, and you have your message. You can engrave anything here, and even Jaeger Le Coultre can make a piece of art here. They can do it with enamel, they can engrave anything you want. And this is just a reminder. For example, mine has the initials of my boy, and I gifted my wife the exact same watch with the exact same engraving. And as I said, these watches become relics. And that's what not a lot of brands do, and I wish a lot of them did a bit more. Brands like Jaeger Le Coultre or Patek do this perfectly, because they know they are not selling watches. They know they are selling something more. They include future generations when you buy something. And that is exactly what Patek means when they say that you never own a Patek, you just take care of it for the next generation. So they understand the importance of heritage. They understand the importance of relics. And if you don't have kids, you will probably don't understand this as much. But if you do, you will get me. A lot of things you do for your kids. For example, you buy a house because you want them to have somewhere to live, even though if you die, if you pass away, they can have somewhere where they will be protected. You buy watches so that they can have something to remember you, or they can have something to sell if they have a rough patch. You even buy a truck instead of a car, a sports car, because you want to move everyone safely from A to B. So you do a lot of things for your children. And Patek and Jaeger Le Coultre understand that this watch is much more than an instrument to tell time. It is something that hopefully my kids will wear and my grandkids will see my kid wear, and then they will wear it and they will remember me. So, and that's why this watch long time ago stopped being a sports watch. Because through time, and let's just remember this watch exists for much more than 100 years, they have been refined. And this is what happens to a lot of sports watches. Let's talk about Patek Philippe, the Nautilus, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, the Submariner. They were two watches, they were sport watches that now have become a dress watch. They are refined, they are streamlined, and they become a relic and statement piece. You can wear this watch, the crop strap, and the suit, and you will probably be the best dressed man or woman in a wedding. Because of course everybody wears their sub or their Patek or their AP to a wedding. But this says more to me. And I really like the relationship I have with this watch. Because of course it is an interactive watch in many ways. First of all, it's a manual wind watch. So just listen to this. You wind this watch and it's like this little pet that you feed, and you see how the heart starts beating. So you feed your watch. But then it's also interactive. You can play with it, you can move it, you can decorate it. And it's just like a dive watch where you can play with the bezel. It's not just like you wind it and you wear it and that's it. It's a really interactive watch that interacts with you, and that it's of course made exactly how you want it. Now the extra part about this watch is that it is numerically perfect. It is designed with the golden ratio in mind, so this is a numerically perfect watch. But also, since the dial is white, it goes well with any strap, any color combination, and it is comfortable. It is a really streamlined, ergonomic watch. Even though it is a square or rectangular watch, it follows the ergonomy of your wrist, so it sits perfectly on your wrist. Look at this. It's perfect, made to measure. And of course, what I like the most is that this is an if you know, you know watch. Not a lot of people will recognize it, but the ones who do, they will know.